If you are choosing between SCHB and VTI, here is the uncomfortable truth. The biggest difference may not be the return. It may be the friction you create around the decision. Both funds are built to give you broad U.S. stock market exposure. Both are extremely low cost. Both own thousands of companies. So if you came here expecting one ticker to completely destroy the other, the real answer is more useful than that. By the end of this video, you will know where VTI has the stronger case, where SCHB is still completely reasonable, and when switching between them is probably just portfolio noise dressed up as optimization. Welcome to Grow with Tony. Simple money lessons for education only, not financial advice. My honest starting point is this. VTI has the cleaner breadth and scale argument. If you want the most standard broad U.S. total market ETF answer, VTI is very hard to argue against. But SCHB is not some fake total market fund hiding in a corner. It is also a serious broad U.S. market ETF. And for many long-term investors, the difference between a good plan and a messy plan is not whether they pick the perfect wrapper. It is whether they can actually stick with the wrapper they picked. I know the little itch to optimize this stuff. You look at two funds, then one has more holdings, one has a lower share price, one has a bigger brand, one had a tiny better return over some period, and suddenly a simple decision turns into a weekend research project. That is where investors get stuck. They think they are improving the portfolio, but sometimes they are just moving the furniture around inside the same room. So, first, let's make the basic comparison clear. SCHB is the Schwab U.S. Broad Market ETF. It seeks to track the Dow Jones U.S. Broad Stock Market Index. VTI is the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF. It seeks to track the CRSP U.S. Total Market Index. Different indexes, different providers, different fund sizes, different holdings counts, but the job is very similar. Broad exposure to the U.S. stock market through a low-cost ETF. On the official pages checked for this episode, both funds were listed around a 0.03% expense ratio. That is important, because cost is usually one of the easiest ways for an investor to hurt themselves. Here, cost is not really the fight. If one fund charged 0.03% and the other charged 0.60%, we would have a very different conversation. But when both are sitting around 0.03%, you are not choosing between cheap and expensive. You are choosing between two cheap tools with slightly different construction. Now the first real difference is holdings depth. According to Vanguard's fact sheet dated March 31, 2026, VTI had 3,507 stocks. According to Schwab's official page, SCHB had 2,413 holdings as of May 18, 2026. So yes, VTI reaches deeper. That is a real advantage. If your definition of total market is, I want the broadest U.S. equity net I can get in one ETF, VTI is closer to that idea. But here is the part that gets missed. More holdings does not automatically mean a totally different ride. Both funds are still dominated by the largest companies because broad market ETFs are generally market cap weighted. The biggest companies still carry a lot of the weight. As of March 31st, 2026, Vanguard's VTI fact sheet showed its top 10 holdings at 33.4% of total net assets. As of May 18, 2026, Schwab showed SCHB led by many of the same mega-cap names: NVIDIA, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Alphabet, Broadcom, Meta, Tesla, and Berkshire Hathaway. The exact weights will change. They always change. But the lesson is durable. VTI can own more stocks and still share the same major engine with SCHB because the biggest U.S. companies are still the biggest U.S. companies. That is why you should not hear 3,500 versus 2,400 and automatically think totally different portfolio. It is more accurate to think VTI has a wider tail. While both funds still get a large part of their movement from the big names at the top, the second real difference is scale. Vanguard's March 31, 2026 fact sheet listed VTI ETF total net assets at $560.75 billion, and the broader fund total near $1.99 trillion. Schwab's official SCHB page showed about $42.1 billion in total net assets as of May 18, 2026. Again, that is a real difference. VTI is much larger. For investors who care about the deepest liquidity, the most standard institutional scale vehicle, or the cleanest default answer, VTI has a strong argument. But for a regular long-term investor buying normal amounts over time, the bigger question is not always, which fund is bigger? The question is, does the fund trade well enough for how I actually use it, and does it fit my account setup? Schwab listed SCHB's 30-day median bid-ask spread at 0.04% for April 18th through May 18th, 2026. That does not mean every trade is identical for every investor, and it does not mean trading costs disappear. ETFs trade in the market, and you can pay more or less than net asset value when buying or selling. But it does remind us that implementation matters. If you are placing small, long-term boring purchases, your real risk may not be that SCHB is too small. Your real risk may be that you keep interrupting the plan because another ticker looked slightly cleaner. Now let's talk about the false scoreboards. These are the things investors use to decide, but they do not actually tell you what you think they tell you. False scoreboard number 1, share price. SCHB trades at a much lower per-share price than VTI, partly because SCHB had a 3-for-1 share split in 2024. That can feel easier. It can make whole share buying simpler if your broker does not offer fractional shares. But lower share price does not mean better value. One $30 share is not automatically cheaper than one $360 share if the fund structure and ownership percentage are different. Share price is a packaging detail. It is not a return forecast. False scoreboard number 2, tiny performance gaps. You might find a comparison page where SCHB is ahead by a tiny amount over one period, or VTI is ahead by a tiny amount over another period. That is not a strategy. That is a snapshot. A small dated performance difference between two similar broad market funds can come from index construction, rebalancing, sampling, cash drag, timing, or just normal noise. It does not prove which one will win your next decade. False scoreboard number 3, brand identity. Vanguard investors can talk like Vanguard is the only serious answer. Schwab investors can talk like Schwab convenience wins everything, but your brokerage logo is not your investing plan. If you love Vanguard and use VTI consistently, that is fine. If you are a Schwab investor and SCHB keeps your plan simple, that can also be fine. The danger is when the brand becomes a substitute for thinking. False scoreboard number 4, owning, both just because you do not want to choose. If SCHB and VTI are both doing the same U.S. total market job in your portfolio, owning both may not add meaningful diversification. It may just add one more line to track. There are exceptions. Maybe you use one in one account and one in another account. Maybe there are tax reasons, transfer reasons, or legacy reasons. But if the only reason is, I could not decide, that is not a portfolio strategy. That is indecision with ticker symbols. Here is the mental shift I want you to remember. When two funds already solve the big problems, the winner is not the ticker with the prettier fact sheet. The winner is the one that creates the least friction in your plan. That one sentence changes the whole comparison. You stop asking which ETF is smarter. You start asking which ETF helps me behave like a better investor. Because a fund can be technically excellent and still be wrong for you if it makes you keep second-guessing. And a fund can be slightly less perfect on paper, but perfectly usable if it keeps you investing consistently, rebalancing calmly, and not chasing every new comparison. So use 4 quick tests, not to get a universal winner, to get a clean decision. First, the coverage test. Do you want the deepest possible one-ticket U.S. market exposure? If that is your priority, VTI has the clearer edge. The CRSP total market exposure and larger holdings count make it the cleaner, broadest market answer. If your priority is broad U.S. exposure that captures the large, mid, and smaller company parts of the market without obsessing over every micro holding, SCHB can still pass the coverage test for many investors. The key is being honest about the trade-off. Second, the friction test. Which one is easier for you to buy, rebalance, track, and leave alone? This is where account setup matters. If you already live inside Vanguard, VTI may feel natural. If you already live inside Schwab, SCHB may feel natural. That sounds boring, but boring can be powerful. A slightly cleaner ETF that you keep. Questioning may be worse than a very good ETF that you actually use without drama. Third, the tax and turnover test. If you are choosing fresh dollars, this is simpler. But if you already own one of these in a taxable account, switching just because the other one looks a little better can create real tax consequences. SCHB's official page listed portfolio turnover at 3.07% as of April 30, 2026. Vanguard's VTI fact sheet listed turnover at 2.6% for the most recent fiscal year. These are both low-turnover broad index funds. But the tax question for you is not only inside the fund, it is also what happens if you sell. So before switching, the better question is not, which ETF do I like more today? The better question is, what problem am I solving that is big enough to justify the move? Fourth, the behavior test. After choosing, will this decision make your plan quieter? Or will it just send you to the next comparison? VTI versus ITOT, SCHB versus SPTM, VOO versus VTI, total US versus total world. This is where I think many investors lose the plot. They start with a useful question, then keep expanding the comparison until no answer feels good enough. The portfolio never gets simpler. The investor just gets more informed and more anxious. If a comparison helps you choose a clear rule, it is useful. If it keeps you circling forever, it is a problem. Imagine two investors. One chooses VTI because it is broader, then actually buys it every month for 10 years. The other chooses SCHB because it fits the account, then actually buys it every month for 10 years. Both investors may be doing something more valuable than the person who keeps switching because the newest comparison chart looked slightly cleaner. The lesson is not that details do not matter. Details matter. The lesson is that details have to serve a rule. Once the fund is broad, low-cost, diversified inside U.S. stocks, and usable inside your account, the next improvement may not be another ticker. It may be fewer interruptions. That is why this comparison should end with a decision, not a new obsession. Now let's put this into a simple ownership audit. 3 lines. You can use this for SCHB, VTI, or almost any core fund. Line 1. I own this because it gives me this exact role. For example, I own this as my broad U.S. stock market core. Not because it is magic. Not because it always wins. Because it does a specific job. Line 2. The trade-off I accept is this. If you choose VTI, maybe the trade-off is you are comfortable with Vanguard's fund. Structure and market cap concentration, because you want the broader holdings depth and massive scale. If you choose SCHB, maybe the trade-off is you accept slightly less holdings depth because it fits your Schwab workflow as very low cost and keeps your plan simple. Line 3. I would only change it if my rule changed. Not because someone online posted a new chart. Not because one fund beat the other by a fraction over a recent period. Not because the other ticker sounds more sophisticated. You change because your portfolio role changed, your account situation changed, your tax situation changed, your broker changed, or you discovered a real implementation issue. That is a rule. Everything else is noise management. So what should you not do? Do not panic switch a sensible holding because another ETF has more holdings. If you already own SCHB inside a coherent long-term plan, discovering that VTI has more stocks does not automatically mean your plan is broken. Do not ignore the difference either. If you are starting from zero and want the broadest, most widely used one-ticket U.S. total market default, VTI has a strong case. Respect that difference. Just do not exaggerate it into a moral victory. Do not. Buy both just to feel diversified if they are doing the same job. Diversification is not how many tickers you own. It is whether the pieces behave differently enough to matter. And do not let this comparison distract you from bigger questions. SCHB versus VTI does not answer how much you should hold in stocks, whether you need international exposure, how much cash you need, whether bonds belong in your plan, or whether you can stay invested when markets drop. That is why my practical answer is this. VTI has the cleaner case if you want maximum breadth, massive scale, and the most standard total U.S. market ETF default. SCHB has a perfectly serious case if it fits your Schwab workflow, you understand the slightly narrower holdings depth, and it helps you invest consistently. The bad answer is to keep switching, comparing, and rebuilding because you are trying to squeeze certainty out of two funds that already do a very similar job. Do not worship the wrapper. Build the rule you can keep. If you own one of these, comment below. Are you Team VTI, Team SCHB, or Team Stopover Optimizing? And if you want practical investing breakdowns without the hype, subscribe to Grow with Tony. Keep learning, keep growing your wealth, and I will see you in the next one.